Hey, it's Coach Josh here, and I want to talk about something near and dear to my heart. If you've been training for more than a year, you're in that intermediate phase where you're not getting your beginner gains anymore, you might find that you're not always making progress in the linear sense in terms of progressive overload, which is like more weight on the bar. That's actually not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Discouraging as it may be, it means you've entered a new phase of training. And over the last 20 years, I've found that people, most of the goals that they have around getting in shape, building muscle, burning fat, they occur in that first year, maybe year and a half of training, where you're in the beginning phase, maybe entering the intermediate phase. When you get there, if you have bigger goals, if you're trying to be a competitive athlete in some sports, or you really care about your physique and you're trying to advance it to the highest levels, then you're going to have to get familiar with the intermediate phase and what happens inside of that, where you're not necessarily trying to get as much weight as you can get to in each of these lifts. So you're going to change up the sequence and create a conditioning goal to go with your strength training goal, or a range of motion goal to go with your strength training goal. You're going to combine performance aspects and attributes, and that will change the amount of weight that you're going to use. So, for example, if I'm doing push-ups and I can do 40 or 50 push-ups in a row, and I'm trying to challenge myself to grow in a new way, I'm going to change up the sequence. So instead of finishing with those exercises, finishing with the small muscle exercises, I'll start with them. So I'll do my curls, 12 to 15, 2 to 4 sets, depending on where I'm at in my program, stretching out those muscles. And then I'll do tricep push downs. So I'm gonna get my arms nice and trained. Full range of motion, stretching the tricep, 12 to 15 reps. I'll do 4 rounds of those. And I'll do some deltoid work. Once I've trained my arms, then I'll come back to the push-up. Now, I'm not gonna have the same level of performance, but what I will have is a different stimulus. And I'll get more arm training, less chest training, and I'll train more of the chest fibers and less of the arm fibers, because now my arms are pretty well smoked and the push-up will become more difficult. So my push-up performance might drop, but the overall stress to the muscles will increase because of the sequencing change. That will make it easier to break through the plateau, to build muscle, not necessarily build raw strength, but I could do that as well because I'm being creative and further able to improve performance. It's already pretty good at this point, especially if you're at the intermediate level and you've been doing this for a year or two. And that way, you're never out of options. You can always train a little bit smarter and a little bit harder so that you can bring forth the warrior within.